Hello everyone, this is Rukeya from GBIF Norway. Unfortunately, I'm not able to be there in person, so this is a pre-recorded presentation. I'm going to be talking to you about the GBIF website for this particular presentation. So if you go to gbif.org in your browser, you will see this page load up. I think the picture changes every time, so it might not be this picture, but you will see it says it is a website providing free and open access to biodiversity data, and there are it's possible to search in this search box for occurrences, species, datasets, publishers, and resources. There are also a very large number of occurrence records, datasets, publishing institutions, and peer-reviewed papers which have been authored using GBIF data. So this section is a set of statistics about the GBIF website. This is what it contains. There's some information about what GBIF is. And then there are news items, news that is happening in the GBIF network. There are some featured articles in this section. I see they have a section on thematic communities next, and then there is information about programs and projects, and resources and documentation. And this is the homepage, what the homepage looks like. Up at the top over here, you'll see there are a set of menus. You can this is the one that generally I use because I'm often getting data from GBIF. There are also how-to guides, how to become a data publisher, for example. There are GBIF tools detailed in this menu. And there is information about the GBIF community in this menu. So the network, the community forum, information about the volunteers and the activities that are being run. And there's also more information about GBIF itself and GBIF news in the About menu. So I can show you what the occurrences page looks like. So this is more or less what most people, I think, are using the GBIF website for searching through species occurrences. You can see here is the number from the statistics, the 3.6 billion records, and here is the list of every single occurrence record that there is. I'm going to go into more detail about this later, but for the moment you should just be aware that each of these occurrences are published in a group of other occurrences, and those groups are called datasets. So that's what a dataset is. It's a grouping of data. And I've just swapped to this tab over here. GBIF has information about dataset classes. There are 4 different types that GBIF supports. There is a resource metadata dataset class. This does not have actually any data yet, but it's, for example, if you're going to be running a project and you want information about your project to become available on GBIF and you are going to be publishing that data at a later stage, you can create a resources metadata type of data set. And it will just have information about your project, but later on you might be able to add data to it. There is a checklist type of data set. So this is a data set which might provide a catalogue or list of named organisms or taxa. They can include additional details like local species names or vernacular names. and they categorize information along taxonomic, geographic, or thematic lines. For example, there's a data set for the red-listed mollusks of Seychelles. Yeah, so it's possible to upload a checklist of data. I would say most data sets publish occurrence data, so those are occurrence type data sets. And this is a data set which is a group or a list of the location of individual organisms in space and time. So I saw this particular bird at this particular place on this particular day. Yes, and they make up the core of data published on gbif.org. And for example, it could be an observation, as I just said, by a field researcher or a citizen scientist. It could be specimens or fossils from natural history collections. Or it could be, for example, data gathered from camera traps. So occurrence records sometimes only provide general locality information, but it's best to have precise locations and geographic coordinates. Then there are sample event type data sets, sampling event type data sets. These data sets provide greater detail. So they kind of build on occurrence data sets. They have a series of events. So for example, if you went out into the field on one day and you followed some standard protocol for a vegetation transect or a bird census, you could enter that as an event, and then all of the vegetation transects or birds that you saw, all of the vegetation occurrences or bird occurrences that you saw for that particular field work at that particular time could be grouped into a particular event. And then if the next day you went to somewhere else and possibly you followed the same protocol or something slightly different, that could also be categorized as a particular event. So event data sets are groupings of occurrence data sets. It's probably the easiest way to think about it. Okay, so these are the 4 different types of dataset classes that GBIF supports. And as I say, all of these 3.6 billion records are records in data sets. You can see the data set over here. So for example, Natural History Museum London, Danish Mycological Society, International Barcode of Life. These are all data sets. These are groupings of observations or sampling events which have been uploaded to GBIF and published. One particularly big aggregate data set is eBird, and there's also the iNaturalist research grade observations data set. So you can see there's a large quantity of records in this particular data set. And this is from people all over the world, all using the iNaturalist app. Let's take a look at the Uzbek country page. This is every single GBIF participant country has a country page. This is what Norway's one looks like, and this is what Uzbekistan's one looks like. And you can see they provide a really nice breakdown of data about Uzbekistan. So there are 265 publishers publishing data about Uzbekistan. If you go to the data publishing tab, you can see that only 12 of those publishers are actually from Uzbekistan. And there are 88 published data sets which are published from Uzbekistan. So I hope that you can understand the difference there. These are Uzbek publishers, and this is Uzbek data. Right, so there are some interesting statistics in each of the country pages. You can see a breakdown of the different occurrences per kingdom. So you can see that there are more animals than plants, for example, recorded as occurrences published by these 12 publishers from Uzbekistan. There is a list. Oh, okay. This is actually, sorry, this is not, these numbers are not from data published from publishers from Uzbekistan. These numbers should remain the same. No, they don't. Okay. Yeah, here I see. So this is occurrences per kingdom as published by these 12 publishers. And here you can see all 265 global publishers. This is the breakdown. So still more animals than plants, for example. Okay, then there are some interesting charts that you can scroll through and take a look at. And there's detailed information about what the charts mean and how to interpret them. You can, if we go to participation, you can see some information about how long Uzbekistan has been a GBIF participant and so on. And you can also download an activity report PDF. So all of the different countries participating in this workshop will be able to, will have a country page and will be able to access similar information from GBIF. Okay, so I'm now going to take a look at some of these published data sets. I see there's some checklists. Here's the type collection from the National Herbarium. We can maybe take a look at this one. You can see that there are 4,000 occurrences and it's been cited 94 times. There's only 9% of these records with actual coordinates. So that's quite a low number. But at any rate, this is a valuable data set. If we go to the 94 citations, you can see some of them probably are maybe using global data, but others, there was one here for West Asia. Yeah, so some of the others are papers which might be quite specific to Uzbekistan. So this is quite interesting to go through and look at. I'm just going to show you, if you wanted to view, for example, this particular data set, the type collection of the National Herbarium of Uzbekistan, and you wanted to view also, for example, I don't know, one of these other data sets, what you can do is you can go to, remember I had this tab open which was the main occurrence search. I'll just show you how I got to it again. Oh, sorry, no, you go here, get data, and then occurrences. And you wait for Cloudflare. Right, so here, this is, as I say, many records. If you want to be able to filter it by, for example, specific data sets, you can paste the name of your data set in there. And if I look, what was the other one? Maybe this one. If I copy and paste this one in here as well. Okay, so now I can see all of these particular records from both of these two data sets. And if I want to be able to see a map of them, only the ones with coordinates are showing, but you can zoom in over here and see them. And then say I'm interested in just a particular area, I can select the records which only occur in that particular area, and you can see over here there's 545 of those records. You can check and see if there's any pictures of these There are pictures of these specimens. We can look at the taxonomic breakdown of these. And we can look at, actually I think there's more information here. Oh no, it's just a table. Then we can look at the metrics, so we can see the month of observation. We can see if there's any potential problems with the data that we're looking at here under occurrences per issues and flags. And you can also see that in this filter section here somewhere. These are all the different filters that you can actually apply. And right at the bottom over here, you can see, for example, some of them haven't listed the country exactly, for example. So we have country derived from a coordinates. There are 104 records that do that. Institution match fuzzy, collection match fuzzy. Well, these aren't really very big issues, but it is possible to see lots of information about this. It's also possible to search for specific taxa. Say we're only interested in, I don't know, these ones. We can filter again, and you can see there are only 12 results this time. You can see the results in the table. You can see the results in the gallery. When it loads, these pictures will load. You can see the results in a map. You can see the taxonomic breakdown. And as I say, the metrics. And you can also download the 12 results. So you can download these. I think you have to be logged in to be able to access this, but it's free and easy to make an account on the GBIF website. And then you can download the data in different formats. Yeah, so it can be quite interesting to look at all the possible different ways you can filter the data. And for example, you can restrict it to only find observations which were made within a certain year range or on a certain year. You can search for particular collector names. All of this data is searchable, which I think is really cool. So I've talked about let's just go back and have a look at all of the data again. Oh, actually, I should talk about the GBIF API. So you can download your data here from the website. You can also download your data programmatically using the GBIF API. So this technical documentation, which you saw me get to through the menu, and there's an API reference here. And this lets you retrieve your data. Let's see here, occurrence API. You can retrieve your data through an occurrence API, which is maybe useful if you're doing something programmatically, or you need your data. You want your data in code because you want to run some analyses on it. Okay, yeah, this is the iNaturalist big data set. These are all of the data sets of Uzbekistan, and as I say, this is what the Norway country page looks like. I don't think there's anything else I can show you of interest on the GBIF website. Maybe it's helpful to know that this button over here shows you if there are any problems with the website. At the moment, everything is operational and working well. It's possible to change it to a different translation. Okay, there's a general search button over there. And yeah, this is just some feedback and questions form links you can go to. So I'm going to be online. If anybody has any questions, you're welcome to ask about them. Otherwise, I would suggest that everybody gets out their laptop and opens up gbif.org and maybe tries searching under get data and occurrences. Search for your particular favorite species and maybe try to filter by whichever countries is you're interested in. So that could be an exercise for us to do following this presentation.